Welcome to Nature's Way to Wellness, a series of honest conversations with three women who've partnered with Nature's Way to discuss their weight wellness journeys. The range of topics includes managing cravings, self-love, healthy routines, and all the tools that they're using for their long-term success. I'm Vanessa Rissetto, registered dietitian, co-founder and CEO of Kalina Health. I've been a registered dietitian for 15 years, mostly supporting patients around weight management. I'm super excited to bring to you our next guest, Bridget Mogavero. She is awesome. We had the best conversation, super candid. She's someone who was diagnosed with ADHD later on in life, something that I can relate to. And she talks really candidly about cravings, coming off of her medication, all of the things that she's done and systems that she's put into place in order to get herself to this next level. So I'm excited for you to listen. Stay tuned, check it out, and let us know what you think. But first, my disclaimer. These are my thoughts and opinions as a registered dietitian and my views that I would share on an individual client or patient basis. If you have questions specific to your own weight journey, please seek advice from a healthcare professional. Hey everyone, welcome back to Nature's Way to Wellness podcast. I'm super excited to introduce you to our next guest, Bridget Mogavero. Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
Good,
So
how are
excited
you?
today because we're going to discuss, the reality of cravings, how to identify triggers, and, some practical strategies so that we can navigate through them. But first, I am going to let Bridget introduce herself to the people.
Sure. So my name is Bridget. I'm a mom of one. I've been married to my high school sweetheart for 15 years, and I do content creation where I review products on my channel, honestly, and I also throw in a bit of lifestyle flair, basically just chaos, ADHD, everyday life, trying to keep it real, not giving that fake persona influencer life. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love that. I love that. Okay. Well, I follow you. I love your content. I think it's awesome. And yes, I see some changes in your ADHD. It's like really close to my heart because my daughter was just diagnosed with ADHD. So I know you've just recently stopped your medication. So
Yes.
let me know what that's been like for you and what are some of the things that you've noticed and,
So
take it
we're
that
trying
way.
to get pregnant. So based off of the suggestion, or for the second time, so based off of the suggestions of our doctors, they said to stop the ADHD meds, which has been a lot. I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until after I had my first son. So it was a couple of years ago. My past all makes sense now, but cravings and eating a lot to help with ADHD or anxiety or something been something that I've always done and not realized. So not taking the medicine, it's been hard to make it so that I'm not sitting on the couch after a long day and just eating everything in sight. So when Nature's Way reached out, I actually hadn't tried their product before, and I was very interested to try it. And I was happy to see that it was just kind of like a fiber supplement where it isn't this scary big thing where you're putting all these toxins in your body or completely doing some surgery or changing your life or anything. It's just an additive to your day that just helps yourself feel fuller, and it helps me turn off those triggers and cravings.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, it is an added fiber supplement, and then it has, B6 and B12. But yes, to your point, these are well-researched ingredients, right? And so we know the Morocell comes from the Moro oranges, and it's high in antioxidants, and it helps with the abdominal fat loss. And then the Chromax, which is chromium perchlorate, again, very well-researched, and we know that it can help with the reduction of your blood sugar and then also reducing of cravings. So it's just another tool in someone's toolbox to help them around triggers, cravings, etc. So I love that for you.
Yeah, and I love that they also have the to-go packets. I brought it with me. We went to Florida 2 months ago, and I brought it with me, and there's just the little to-go packets that you can just put in a water bottle that you bring with you, so it's super easy to carry around. Or I leave a couple of them in my car and my purse just on the go in case I need it or forget to take it, or something like that. So it's just really nice to have it. There's a couple different flavors too, although I just love the different variabilities with it and all the options there are. And it's, like I said, it's not overwhelming at all. Just a little bit in your drink, in your water, and just mix it up, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the ADHD because you said something before that you didn't get diagnosed until adulthood. I also have been diagnosed with ADHD. The doctor like met my daughter and then saw me and he was like, you have ADHD. And I was like, oh, wow, I made all these inroads. And so, you're like, my life made a lot of sense. And so are there spots in your life that you like might think back to and be like, oh yeah, like maybe this was where I would like maybe like eat even though maybe I wasn't hungry or I was distracted or, like, are there things that you might note that you noticed from then and then like being on the medication and now being off? And then like second part, what are the things that you have built around like, yes, like, weight manager is one of the tools, but like, are there any other things that the listeners can like learn or maybe like incorporate that might be helpful to them?
Yeah, so it's tough because I didn't want to rely on just taking a medication, and I don't want to rely on just taking a medication. It's definitely an awesome tool. But yeah, there's a couple things with ADHD. So obviously there's, the distractions and things like that, the forgetfulness. But as far as the curvings and the cravings and stuff like that went, yeah, the medication, I lost a significant amount of weight just because I wasn't so all over the place and spacey. I was just kind of like calm. It calmed my mind. So that helped me not eating a ton of things. So when I went off that, I was back to the crazy mind. So I started using some tools to help the mind and then also tools to help the cravings, obviously. So with the mind, I have a timer actually right here. It's like 30, 15, 60 minutes. And I give myself little breaks. So I'm like, okay, you need to do this project for this amount of time. And then when timer goes off, you get a 5-minute break or whatnot. So I think instead of trying to do everything at once, it's also, I have a planner that I write down things, categorize my day, stuff like that. And then with the weight manager, that's just another thing to help with the cravings and the eating part.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think that maybe it's really easy to get like overwhelmed and then just like, the natural inclination is to just be like, okay, I'm just going to like grab something to eat and like soothe myself. Like,
Yeah.
is that something that you've dealt with?
Yeah. I also have hair pulling disorder, so I pull my hair when I'm anxious. So one thing is my hands need to be doing something at all times. So food keeps my hands busy. It's doing something with my hands. So working on those triggers, realizing that sometimes it's not just, well, it's not that I'm hungry, but figuring out the reasoning behind the
Mhm.
cravings and the eating a lot and things like that. So trying like fidgets for my hands or stuff like that to keep them more distracted has been super helpful as well, especially off medication.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot with patients about understanding why we behave in the way that we do, right? Like a lot of times people will be like, I don't know, I'm fine. I spend all day and like I don't even like really eat that much. And then I come home and I just like I'm cooking dinner, but I eat like 5,000 calories worth of food before I even serve the dinner to my family. And I'm like, okay, stop.
Mm-hmm.
What happens between you leaving your job and you coming home? And they're like, I just come and walk in the door, I drop my bags and I start cooking. And you're like, nope. So we're not going to do that anymore. And we're going to like grab a protein rich snack or we're going to grab weight manager and we're going to walk the dog or even just go for a walk and call a friend and like break that. And then we'll come back and we're going to, make our dinner and be like more
Yeah.
thoughtful. But it's like really asking people to think through or I love chocolate. I love chocolate so much and I will never give it up. And it's like, why do I love chocolate so much? What is the thing about the chocolate? Well, the thing is that chocolate was the thing that I did with my grandmother and I love my grandmother so much and I miss my grandmother so much. And so this is why I'll never give it up. But like actually pausing to think about that. And so curious, like your thoughts around that and like pausing and then thinking through and then maybe like some like what are the different strategies or like what is the grace that you give yourself when you do realize like, oh, this is why I do this and these are the ways that I can combat that?
Yeah, I think tracking in general, so like mood tracking, food tracking, not necessarily like calorie counting or things like that, but tracking patterns. So I'm eating 3 healthy meals a day. Why am I, gaining all this weight? It's all the tiny snacks in between and things like that you're not accounting for. So keeping track of, and even your menstrual cycle, there's a lot of things that can affect it. So having a mood tracker, there's one that I have and, just keeps track of everything. So I can see, the week before my menstrual cycle, I want to eat more or less or, whatnot. And being able to plan ahead for that. So I can plan to have higher protein meals or healthier meals or things like that. Yeah, has been something that's been super, super helpful.
I like what you said. It's not calorie counting.
No.
I am simply logging my food because it's data that's going to help me. Like, oh, I see that on Monday I actually only had 2 meals and they were carbohydrate rich and not protein rich, and that explains why I'm so hungry on Tuesday. That's the way that I look at it, but like curious how you see it and how it's been supportive for you.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's definitely we have to be careful, especially if there's triggers that you have in your life, and make sure that that's something that you are capable of doing. But I think that tracking without judgment is the biggest part. So it's not you're not tracking and saying, oh, like, oh, I ate this, I shouldn't have ate this, or I ate that, I shouldn't. It's just facts. So like if you go to a doctor and you're like, I have this symptom, they're gonna ask you, how long have you had it? What other symptoms do you have? Things like that. Same with eating. So I'm gaining weight, or I'm not happy with my weight, or things like that. Okay, well, what's the patterns? What's been going on in your life, in your mood, and all these sorts of things. So tracking isn't something where I think that it's important to make sure there's no judgment behind it. And it's just where you're writing down, okay, like this is exact, and don't lie in it. This is exactly how much I ate. And then that way you can step back either after a long day or a week and look back and say, oh, actually, on the weekends, during the week, I'm perfect. On the weekends, I tend to eat all these things, and then try to, plan from there. And
do you notice a time where your cravings are more like personally, it doesn't matter what I do. I am a pretty structured person in the way that I eat, just because structure makes the world go round, and you can call me about it and I will show you how to do it. But doesn't matter. After whatever I eat at dinner, I want something sweet. I'm fairly like 98% positive it's a habit, and I'm just not interested in breaking it at this moment in my life. But curious if you notice that as well.
yes, except unfortunately it goes both ways. So if I try to have something salty, I need something sweet. If I have something sweet, I need something salty after dinner. I don't understand. I need both. So there's a couple of ways to tackle it. There's times where I've put a cutoff, like after 8, I can't eat. There's where I've eaten high density, lower calorie things like popcorn, or things that are more airy, popsicles, low sugar popsicles. Like I find that it's not that I'm like, I literally could have like a couple chocolate chips and it would crave the sweets craving. So trying to not like dive into, okay, I want sweets, let me have like an ice cream sundae and cookies and all this stuff. Seeing how much I can, go to without curbing that, because it's not hunger. It's just like anxiety or boredom or whatever it is. Let me just sit here on the couch and eat whatever I can find, kind of thing.
Yeah, I said this earlier, is this concept of food noise. And I never really talked about food noise with patients. And I think it is about messaging and shame, and people feel ashamed to actually say like, no, I think about food all the time and where my meals are coming from, because then not everybody has that same feeling. And, it's like, oh, you shouldn't want to eat, and you should want to be thin, and all of these things. And my patients would come back to me and be like, hey, yeah, like what's amazing is that I'm not thinking about food that much, because there is a structure, and then I'm, eating enough protein, and I'm not skipping meals, and I'm making sure that there's fiber, right? Like I build it out like a map for people, and it's like, okay, this is how the food should appear, and these are the types of food, and here is like a reference guide, and people like it. You gamify that. But it's such a fascinating thing for me, because I'm like, wow, like there are people out there and they think about food all day, every day, and that is another hurdle that people have to climb. And so we do need tools in the toolbox, like the weight manager, that's going to help you, right? Like something that it has fiber, the supplements are well researched. They are able to do these things. They're loaded with antioxidants, and they also taste good and they're fun. So then there's that. And you could, I'm going to make a mocktail and put seltzer in this, and I'm going to drink this, and it's going to be great. Yeah. And I think that's it's so interesting. And it's just like, how, did you always have food noise? Did you as a kid be like, I'm just thinking about food all the time? And did you feel this like shame around it, that you had to like keep it to yourself?
Yeah, so I don't recall there being food noise in like my teenage years. In my 20s, definitely. If I was struggling mentally, I would be eating a lot. It was never diagnosed as food noise or ADHD. And then once I got diagnosed with ADHD when I had my son, then I definitely noticed it a lot more. I think there's just a lot going on in your mind as a mom, and you're juggling so many things that when he finally goes to bed at night, that's when I'm just like eating, I think, to try to keep up with what's going on in my brain or whatnot. But yeah, I didn't diagnose it or realize it was food noise until definitely the past couple years, I would say, which makes it really helpful. It's like, am I eating this because I'm hungry, or am I eating this to try to fulfill something? And then trying to make a point of choosing what I'm eating because of that. So if I'm hungry and I'm just eating all these little snacks, then I'm going to be hangry because those little snacks don't fill me up. So trying to find things that have fiber or protein if I'm really hungry. And then if I'm not really hungry, things, again, like I said, that are like high density, low calories, celery sticks, carrots, popcorn, things that like give me the feeling of eating, but it not being like weighing me down.
Yeah. And do you notice that the noise is more quiet when the day is or has better structure? Meaning, like you just
Yes.
said before, like, oh, I ate protein, I had carbohydrates in appropriate amounts, and vegetables and fiber and all of those things. Yep.
Yeah, in general, the day is better when it's planned out, even with whatever structure. And that's not like, every minute, whatever. I do time blocks. So it's like 10 to 12. These are the things I want to get accomplished. And then, take a 20-minute break or whatnot. So I'll have breakfast in there or whatever, and just trying to get in protein and, healthy fats and carbs and stuff in breakfast, including because at the start of the day, people a lot of times just default to carbs, and that can just start your day on not a great note, and make you lethargic and things like that. So just, yeah, I think planning the day, whenever my day is structured more and planned out rather than just like a chill day, like a weekend, yeah, the food noise is definitely more manageable.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I just want to like double click just for people that are listening about like carbohydrates for breakfast versus protein. And so the thing is that like a typical American breakfast like oftentimes has things like pancakes, and it's really hard to get a lot of protein in something like a pancake. So then what happens is you digest it very quickly, and then that signals to your body to crave more of that same kind of carbohydrate. So not that you cannot have the carbohydrate in the breakfast, but the carbohydrate cannot be the star. And then if you are going to have carbohydrate, we'll say, just for ease of example, like an oatmeal, right? We would be very specific about the portion and then what are the things that we're adding. And so perhaps we could add chia seeds, this good fat and some protein, and maybe some peanut butter. And then you can have like a high fiber fruit, maybe like a raspberry. Although I'm going to write a book one day called Raspberries Are for Rich People. I have gone to the supermarket and they've been like $14. So then I don't buy them, but they are very low calorie and very high, high in fiber. And I have like an overnight oats recipe that's 19 grams of fiber. And I'm like, so then just add vegetables to your lunch and your dinner and you're going to go over the amount. And so those are like some of the tricks, I think, which you've, easily learned from like your own experience that are very helpful, I believe.
I think it's helpful to just sneak in things like low fat, non-fat Greek yogurt or things like that really aren't changing the taste at all, but are adding so much to it, the chia seeds or, things like that. I think it's important. And then, yeah, one thing that I changed when I moved out, I was definitely like the meals I was making were like pasta based. And then I was gaining a lot of weight, obviously. So then I started realizing to not base the meal, like you said, around the carb. So like you can have pasta with your meal, but don't make it a pasta based meal. Make it based on either the vegetable or the protein. Then same thing with breakfast. Don't make it pancake based. Make it based on, pancakes can be a side of it, a part of it or whatever, things like that. And that makes it a lot better digestion wise and health wise and everything like that.
You know what else I was just thinking about when we talked about, craving sugary things and like having carbohydrates as the start of your day, and that might cause you to crave more. This is the other thing that I think about when I think about like a weight manager, right? Because it doesn't have any added sugar and it has less than 1 gram of sugar and it comes from xylitol, but it does have that sweet flavor. And I think that it is a way for people to maybe break that propensity towards something that is like more sweet. And I have experienced that, right? If I have it like after dinner and like not have my little ice cream cone, that brings me joy. But like, do you have that same experience? Have you had that before?
Yeah. Like I review products for a living, and one thing that's made it do well is I can't lie. Like I'm very honest on my face.
I love that.
And I've had multiple people in my family try this drink. It truly, there's nothing about it that tastes bad.
Yeah.
Like I can't lie.
Agreed.
And I'm a person who prefers sweet things, and it's for not having hardly like any sugar at all, and more importantly, hardly any sugar substitutes, because that can leave that aftertaste and it's not great. Like it's not just having a drink, it's also like almost having a treat in a way. Like I'm trying to think of what drink to compare it to, but if you're someone who does, like, a lot of people can't stomach just drinking straight water, that's not going to be an issue for you. Like, it's nice to have something that's going to fill you and also give you an extra taste rather than like just regular water. So it definitely curbs, and especially in the summertime, like if you're looking for a nice cool drink outside, like it definitely helps with sweet cravings because it doesn't just taste like not only nothing, but tastes bad. It tastes really good, to be completely honest.
Yeah, and you're right. It doesn't have that aftertaste. But it's that deep red orange color that comes from those Moro oranges from Italy, and so it's like rich in antioxidants, and it's also like rich in flavor. So I do really enjoy it. And you're right. Like everybody that's tried it is like, this tastes really good and not fake. I'm like, I know, because it's not fake.
Yeah. And I'm my body's very sensitive. Like if I try to have like flavored waters, a lot of times I get really bad migraines from the sugar alternatives or just reactions, and I can't have most of the like the new cool pops that are in and stuff like that because of all of the sugar additives, the ones that have supposedly like zero sugar. And I don't have that issue with this. I don't have the migraine after or anything like that, or the crash feeling, which is really nice because you don't want to add that to your life.
I love that. I think this has been such a fun conversation. I thank you really for being like really open and just like highlighting what it is like to have ADHD, be on medication, be off medication, not being diagnosed until later on in life, and just like knowing that like you can be okay, you are okay, and there are ways to manage where you can mitigate symptoms in order for you to make inroads to have success, because like you're living proof of that. So like, thank you so much. Tell the friends where we can find you.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok under the name Honestly Bridget.
Love it. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into Nature's Way to Wellness. If you're interested in trying Weight Manager, you can find it at Kroger, Amazon, or a grocery near you. And if you wish to learn more, visit naturesway.com. I'm Vanessa Rissetto, and this podcast is brought to you by Nature's Way, a pioneer in the vitamin and supplement industry for over 50 years.